We got something going. All right, that do the trick. That should do it. I apologize for the technical difficulties. All right, we are good. We are good. Appreciate the team. I probably need somebody on site because I'm not a technology person. Um, but distortion. Okay, so I sound distorted. Hmm. We gotta get it right. Gotta get it right. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's go. Testing. Okay, I think we got it. That looks like I got it. Are we good? Oh, good. Okay. All right. Let's get it then. Okay. All right. Well, happy Friday, to everybody. I hope that's too loud, but I apologize for the technical difficulties. Welcome to Keeping Score. Keeping Score is hosted by yours truly, Jamel Giles. I appreciate you for joining on this beautiful Friday. I will be joining you every day, including Saturdays and Sundays from 6 to 7 Eastern. If that's central for you, that's 5 a.m. If that's mountain time, that's 4 a.m. And then if that's Pacific, that is 3 a.m. So wherever you're joining, I appreciate you joining. If you are watching me live, thank you. If you're watching this post production, again, thank you for watching. So let's get into it. I was thinking about how I was going to do Friday shows. I'm trying to still find uh, the right flow. I think Friday should be a little more laid back. You know, people going to the week, they want to probably chill. So I decided I'm gonna make Fridays like a mail type of situation, answer questions, and then also I'll give some of my thoughts early on about the show. But y'all got questions? Matter of fact, team, let's see if we can throw um, the link to join or the link to the comments in the comments box. We're building this as we fly. So let's see if we can figure it out. Let me see. Let's see if that's me. So I like this backdrop better. Oh, I'm not muting myself. No, I like this backdrop better. So I'm still in the office. The previous two episodes, and I think one of the episodes we went live, but I don't think we necessarily uploaded it. So that out. But I'm in my office, but I was on kind of facing the other direction. But I like this. This is my work setup. This is more so the area I work. I was going to make that side the area that I record, but nonetheless, we're trying it out. I think over the weekend I'm gonna do some things that makes this more conducive to doing the show. But I'll also get into it. Keeping score for those that are joining for the first time. It is a platform, really um, a show to where if you are starting your business, we are showing one another how to keep each other accountable, right? So it's this idea. There's these set of tasks, regardless of what you are doing. You are holding yourself accountable. I'm holding you accountable, and we keep score if we did said task, right? So as I'm doing this, my idea, I'm gonna build this keeping score business using my methods that I used to build my other businesses. And so aside from this platform where I'm recording the show, I've also got a website shopkeepingscore.com in which that's where I'm building out the actual business journal. Right? And it's a play on I'm an ex-athlete, but it's a play on doing things from an athletic standpoint. I think there's so many similarities when it comes to being an athlete or being a business owner that I'm like, there's got to be a way you can track it. Like outside of revenue, outside of your business growing, those mini milestones, how do you know or how do you track and determine if you're on the right track? And so as I built this business, I'm literally creating the journal. So it's not ready for release, but as I have these episodes, I'm gonna be updating the actual details though. All right. So yesterday we got into a few things. We got into the idea that as an entrepreneur, you have to own your 24 hours, right? And so with that 24 hours, in most cases, you still have a 9 to 5, but strategically, you want to figure out how much business hours you can get, how many hours you can get towards your business, right? And what I've always said is, if you don't have a lot of money, the only thing you have to leverage is your time, right? And the way I've done that historically is always try to figure out how I can sleep. Like, what's the minimal hours of sleep I need to be able to function? Oh, and so if it's your dream to run a business and you don't have the funds to do it, you gotta push through and get more time, right? And the more you get more time, you gotta sleep less, right? So you getting up early, and that's a part of why I'm filming this show in the morning. The vision is for eventually a 4 hour block of a morning show, to where if you go into work, you go into your 9 to 5. This is motivating you on your drive. You're a trucker, you got this you got this on, you're driving, whatever the case may be. Even if you are just working on your business and waking up at this time to execute those few tasks, let this be the reason why you get up and do it. I've always said I don't want this to be just my show. I want this to be y'all show, to where y'all give feedback from a community standpoint, connecting with one another. But if you working on your business, you got to put the time in. So let this be like a wake up call to you. Put that work in. Put the actual uh again time in. When you look at it, even if it's like an hour a day, you look into the entirety of a year, 365 days. Um, that's a lot of time, and so you can't skip steps. And I think entrepreneurship, we skip steps and we hope we make revenue, we make profit, we hope the customer buys whatever said product is. So let's go ahead and just get into the idea that you got to put in the work. And so over the weekend, I think for Saturday, Sundays, I'll make that like white sessions, to where I'm recording um, the actual breakdown how I go about planning my 24 hours. And so I'll do that over the weekend. And honestly, I love the weekends because I know most people are just chilling, not doing nothing. I mean, and it's normal chill. I don't want anybody. It's good to rest. It's good to recover, have your Sabbath, whatever the case is. But I love it because I'm still gonna grind, and so I feel like I'm lapping the competition weekends, right? Like, I'm sending emails. I'm thinking ideas. My brain is always on. So um, tomorrow I'll be joining at at 6 a.m. again Eastern, and it's 5 a.m. my time. 6 a.m. Eastern. I'll be joining, and then ultimately it may be some people that join, but you'll be able to catch the weekend joint. Uh, Probably on Monday, because my team doesn't work on the weekends, but we'll see. So join live if you can. That being said, let's get into a few topics and then we'll do a mailbag. Okay, so am I having internet issues? How do I sound now? Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. Probably shouldn't be going off Wi-Fi anyway. Well, we'll learn. Does it sounds good and then it sounds bad type of thing? Uh, okay, so it sounds distorted. All right, we're gonna run it anyway. All right, so hopefully it works itself out, but I'm gonna do my thing. So let's talk about the idea of being able to pick the business that you're gonna work on. Um, to me, I've always said your first business, and even in business in general, your first business might not be your dream business, right? That might not be the thing that's going to be the ultimate goal of you. You know, you want to run a t-shirt business, you want to have a clothing company, whatever the case may be. You might not start there. Um, my my story from the first episode, I won't get into it now. My first business didn't out to be exactly what I wanted to be or what I would have expected, but it's the one that's made me the most money, and honestly, it's the one that allowed for me to hone my skill set the best, right? With soft skills, customer support, all that good stuff. So when you're first starting off, you don't want to chase your dream business. And I'd made that mistake of chasing my dream business. I thought I'm gonna start this barbershop and it was gonna be this great thing, right? Didn't work out that way. Few reasons why it didn't work out. I wasn't the talent. I don't know how to cut hair. All I know is there was an issue in the barbershop industry, as far as timeliness, as far as communication, and I wanted to solve for that issue. I wasn't the talent. The other part was the investment component, right? It was, I mean, if you're a barber, you know it takes a lot of money to run a barbershop. It takes a lot of money to even be able to hire uh, the right people to kind of get the vision that I wanted to get. So that being said, the first business that you have to run, I always I think from my standpoint, it's really a formula. It should be in the service industry, like it be a service that you bring into the marketplace. And then more importantly, you have to bring the talent. You have the talent, right? Like if you go be in the service industry of lawns, let's say lawn care, your business model can't be you hire people to cut the grass, right? You have to first cut the grass and then over time you can scale, but you have to get into the details and understand like, look, when I'm uh, cutting these lawns, when I'm being able to get uh, to the bag, here's what works best. Because if you try to be and that's the mistake I made. I was trying to be a CEO and run a business without doing the work for a long time, and it cost me a lot of money. It cost me a lot of money. But the plan of being able to know your business inside out is like the most beneficial thing, and you really can't put a value in it. But when you know the operations of your business, you know uh, the things that make a client kind of buy or acquire whatever service you're providing, you'll be able to strategize kind of in real time, right? You'll say, okay, I'll give them a 2-for-1 here. I'll give them a specific a benefit if they buy a certain amount, or I'll put them on a subscription. That's the type of business knowledge that you acquire just doing the work. Now, even in the idea of you being the talent, like that's one thing, but it's also the side of having low inventory, right? If you're not in the service industry and you doing products, you could run into a lot of issues really fast if you're trying to figure out what is the cost of goods sold versus what is the cost of acquiring a customer from a marketing standpoint. And it's a lot of different variables that until you truly do the service industry, those it doesn't naturally come it doesn't come natural to calculate that amount. So that's the main thing. Being able to be the talent, then also in the service industry, there's really no inventory, right? You just providing the service. And so what I started off with is basically doing IT security work, right? Believe, which is funny because I'm not that good at good with computers or technology from a social media standpoint. But the main thing is, you know, I had to get in there, learn, had to hone my skill set, and that's another thing. Look, if your skills ain't tight, like you got to get better at your craft. There's not a ton of people that are looking forward um to paying for a service that realistically isn't good service. So always be prepared to get better at your craft. And if the client isn't buying and you feel like you got everything right, you just might not have the product. That may be the case. So on Friday, I don't want to get too much into me talking. I want to answer some questions. I want to get to um, a bit of back and forth. And then if y'all have any questions, let's go ahead and talk it through. All right. So let's go with the first question. I've got a few questions that was sent to me that I get to. All right. So the first question is, what challenges did you face when starting your own business? Okay. Okay. So with every business, man, I started a handful of businesses. What all businesses, it's always unique challenges. For me, let me just pick one to talk about. Yeah, I would say that the first business I tried to start wasn't talent, right? So we just talked about that. Try to start a um, barbershop business, not just wasn't the talent, and that's why I quickly, if I'm going to do anything service based, I have to be the talent. I have to be able to. If I want to increase revenue, I've got to say, okay, I'm going to wake up earlier, work more hours in the business, and that's another thing. There's a difference between working in the business and on the business, right? When you're working on the business, that's like working the marketing piece, getting your accounting in order, getting the legal stuff together. When you're working in business, that's like the grind, right? And I could work on the business all day with the barbershop stuff, but I couldn't work in the business. I had money to hire uh, to actually cut there. Another unique challenge that I faced is the more kids that I had and as my family grew, the more risk averse I became. Right, I wasn't interested in taking the same level of risk I was when I was in college. Like it's very difficult as you grow as as an entrepreneur to take those risks when you're also at the same time you got a family, right? So that's a challenge from my standpoint. That was unique in nature. I got 5 kids, so at the end of the day, whenever you've got a family, you want to still make sure you provide. But I talked about it on the last episode. It was my wife that really kind of um, gave me that coming to Jesus moment about me always wanting to be an entrepreneur. That really turned me back in the right direction. But other than that, I may still be chasing a 20-year career at some company if I'd not had that conversation with my wife. So that's pretty much the unique situation or challenge I face. Let's see. So, yeah, let me read another question I got. So this one says, "What advice would you give me for assisting or encouraging my husband to start his own business?" So again, that one was like, I think when it comes to a man starting or a husband starting a business, there's always this natural fear. If you don't want to compromise being the provider, you don't want to compromise put the family in a bad position. From let's see what happened. I saw the thing go off. Give me 1 second. Oh, we connected to the. Give me 1 second. Let me straighten this out. Do, do, do. Mm-mm. I gotta be honest. I wasn't ready for this level of technical difficulties. So we gotta go back to the drawing board on that. Let me see real quick because that camera cut off. I'm still here. Let's see. It's y'all. Let's see. Did we go to an intermission? All right. Let's just do it this way. I promise y'all I'm coming back. Let me figure this out. Let's do this. Drop the link. Alright, I think I got it. So I'm about to join my own live stream. That should do it. I'm gonna join it with my iPhone. Alright, let's see here. So we're gonna probably need to mute everything. All right, let's go. Let me see. All right, so this is just gonna get it from this standpoint. Let's see. Tim, can you hear me now? I'm sure I sound much different, but we're gonna rock out like this. Let me see. See if I can bring myself up. Let's see. All right, so we're going mailbag. Let's see. Mm-hmm. All right, that's we'll be here. All right, so let's go back to the unique challenge questions. So this is a unique challenge for me, obviously on the technical space. I can see my face. All right, so what was the oh, encouraging your husband to start his business. I think when it comes to encouraging your husband, it's such a unique perspective for a man because you don't want to compromise your family, your position, the things that you're doing from a business standpoint. So the encouragement I needed at the time was just, I don't know, like, first of all right, so if you want your husband, you want to encourage him. Like, I think women always, they're very similar to the Holy Spirit. I'm gonna get biblical from time to time, but they'll always remind you what it is that you said, what it is, what it is that you promised, and so that's what my wife did. She told me, she was like, "Hey, look, you said you was going to be this type of person, or you wanted to chase this dream." And as a wife, what you can do is just gently remind him, right? It's not always going to be pretty at the beginning. Actually, for a long time, it may not be pretty. But, just remind him what he said. If he said, look, I want to get into, you know, building race cars, whatever the case may be, always try to support him, give him wisdom. Now, I don't agree with just going along with just crazy ideas, but be honest with him, right? Like, he needs some feedback. He needs to be able to talk some of this stuff through. So be a sounding board. But for the most part, when it comes to a woman or a wife encouraging their husband, it's just that encouraging, right? Uh, it's a lot of it's a lot of business ideas that I had that never saw the light of day because Erica said it. I mean, Erica said that's not a great idea. And so I'm always up for getting open opinions, and I don't want anybody to lie to me about it. But even sometimes Erica says that's not a good idea, I still do it, right? I'll take it into consideration, but if your husband, you can see, like, when you're doing a 9 to 5 daily run, it can get very tiresome, right? And so anything from the perspective of encourage him, just like, hey, give him some space to kind of dissect whatever that business idea is. Buy him a journal here and there, but really try to encourage him to do the things that he said he was going to do. Because once you're a man and you work at 9 to 5, you do forget. You really do forget. All right, let me see if I can pull back up the chat questions. So I got my team dropping chat questions in here. All right. Okay, I can show it. What advice do you have for differentiating a business in a competitive market? Oh, that's a good question. All right, so for me, I always just try to, like, service based. I'm big on the communication. I'm big on the following up and being able to show my face, put my name, like, I'm gonna put my name behind whatever it is that I'm doing. So if you are doing, let's go with a gardening business, right? You want to be able to introduce this as Jamel's gardening business, right? Put your name behind it. If I say I'm gonna do something from a service standpoint, I'll make sure to do it. Like, it's got to be me following up, me sending an email. Like, honestly, when I wake, the first thing I do from my side when I wake up in the morning is send emails and invoices at the beginning of the day so people actually know, look, I'm thinking about this, I'm following up with you. I have a full kind of morning to-do list as it relates to reaching back out to clients and customers. And we had a meeting yesterday. I'm gonna follow up, say, hey, did you need anything else? Have any questions? I sent the proposal. Let me know if you want to discuss further. But so many times, even when I'm dealing with people in the service industry, I'm trying to get who's the first come, first serve. Like I want quality, um, quality service, but I usually make a decision of who's gonna get back to me first, who's the people that's gonna be diligent about responding. So specific to service industries, it's about those soft skills, that being on time, executing, doing what you say you're gonna do. That sticks out to people. And then of course, like I said, you can stand out simply by having quality service as well. All right, so let's see. Mm-mm-mm. All right, so next question. And team, okay, so let me ask a quick question to my team real quick, because I'm curious if anybody else wanted to ask some questions. How we? So does this show like? Is this just picking up from YouTube, like as y'all drop it in? Okay, they can ask on YouTube. All right, cool. All right, so y'all may or may not ask on YouTube, but I did try the options is what I'm after. All right, cool. So let's talk through this next question. Saeed he's on my team, so he's adding the questions that we got. Um, All right. So the next question is, how do you finance your startup costs, and do you have any tips on securing funding? Yeah, I do get tips. Okay, so startup costs. Little quick story. So when I started my service business, Compliance Giant, uh, the only cost I had was going and buy a $75 laptop. I bought it off of Craigslist. The meetup was sketchy. The whole idea of doing anything um, like at a gas station to connect with somebody probably a little sketchy. Uh, then yeah, I mean that's just what it was at the time. But with service industry, the actual startup cost can be as much or as minimal as you need it to be, right? Because you're just trying to. I was just trying to make the $75 back at the time, right? It was again, I had quit my job abruptly, and I had to justify doing what I did, and so when I quit, we had a savings, but it wasn't a lot. So I was like, I'm doing this IT security stuff, and I was doing it at the time. I was doing it on a Chromebook, and I realized that the Chromebook wasn't sufficient, wasn't sufficient for what I was trying to do. So bought a $75 laptop, and then that was it. But every time I would make money, I would put it back into the business. And it wasn't until I got kind of rolling to where I was able to, and that took like revenue wise, it took me probably, man, like at least 8 months to get to a place where I was actually paying myself. But the startup cost was only $75. Now, the securing funding part, if you can hold out on taking any funding until you understand your revenue stream, you'll be in a good spot. Because once you start taking money from anybody, be it a loan, be it a credit card, um, even kind of having some sort of angel investors, that puts you in a position of where you have to answer people, right? And it's nothing wrong with answering people, nothing wrong with taking investments, but until you have your business fully vetted, how you gonna work the space, how you gonna do it, you want to take time and really understand it before you ask anybody for money. Because worst case scenario, you go ask your mom and your dad for money, then you lose their money, and You can't pay your credit card, you can't pay your loan. All this stuff piles up and it impacts really your creativity or your entrepreneurial journey as it relates to getting the business idea out. So you want to try to stay as kind of clean when it comes to liabilities for service industries as possible. And then, like, what I do when it comes to securing funding, I take the money from other business that I'm running to grow or to start current businesses. But it's really to each his own. Like, there's no right or wrong way to do it when it comes to securing funding. But I would advise on limiting how much debt you take on, how much money you take from people or from third parties, because that will impact how fast or how soon you have to pay it back, and it takes away from the overall bottom line. All right, so let's see here. Next question. All right, so what marketing strategies have you found most effective for a new business? To me, it's word of mouth. Like, I can do all of the different marketing, but nobody can like drive better sales than word of mouth. And I remember being at UIC in college, and that was the thing. It was, hey, word of mouth is the best way to make sales. And I thought it was all right. Like, I was like, all right, they just saying that. But once I started my own business, that was definitely true, right? You're gonna get referrals if you're in the service industry, right? In which that's why I advise most people to start. You're gonna get referrals. You're going to be able to um, show off your talent. Even like, if you're a barber, like, I keep going back to barber. Maybe I should start that barbershop business because I keep going back to it. But if you are a barber, the guy that you give your best haircut to, that's your best way to sell and market your services. So word of mouth, and to be honest, like the Facebook, the Instagram marketing, I'm sure that's valuable. I'm about to find out with keeping score. So I have more to say on it soon. But when it comes to actually growing your business organically, word of mouth for sure is the best way. And I'm open to change that as I really get closer to the social media stuff. If I know more, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna change that answer because it could be better. Social media marketing could be better. I've seen it work for a lot of people, but I personally haven't had a ton of experience with it. So let's see. Let's get into the next one. All right. So next question, how do you set and track goals for your business? That one's a good one. So you gotta ask yourself why you're in business first and foremost. Like for me, I'm doing it to be able to make money. Right? This is not a non-for-profit organization. I'm not doing it just for fun. I may enjoy it while I'm doing it, but I'm not doing it just to have fun. So the idea of tracking my goal or even setting my goals, my first thing I wanted to do when I was doing my business to know it was successful was conceptually paying myself every 2 weeks. I want to put myself on payroll, right? So I want to say, all right, you got enough money to be able to pay yourself every 2 weeks. You can pay your team every 2 weeks and so forth. So that was my first goal, right? Get revenue up to a point to where I'm not just taking money from the business or everything isn't just paycheck to paycheck when it comes to actually running the business. So that was the goal. That was the first goal. Okay, get revenue up, right? And, that's like said very kind of in a simple manner, but that was the goal. I wanted to be able to treat myself like an employee of my own business, right? In which I am, but you can't get around just hoping you get paid, right? You gotta have enough money to be able to do that every 2 weeks. And then the other goal was to scale, right? So for a long time I did everything in my business, but I wanted to get in a position to where I could scale certain things, right? Be able to outsource certain tasks where it's not just me doing it. And so those two are my main goals for any business. How fast can I outsource something, and then how soon can I get the business to a point to where it's running in a natural way. It's paying every 2 weeks, and then it's running up the revenue to ensure that it covers the payroll, right? Those two things are the main things I look at. The way I track those, I've got so the way I will be tracking them is through the Keeping Score journal. Um, I use a few other platforms. They're not sponsoring me, so they will remain unnamed, but realistically, the way I say let's track is just have a list of things that you're doing on a daily basis that feed into that overall objective or goal. And then ultimately you'll end up getting there, hopefully, if you're putting in the work over time. So that's that answer. I think, everybody's unique in the sense of the goals they set. Some people say, I want to sell my business at 6x or 10x or whatever the value is. That's a good goal, but that's a different conversation. So yeah, certainly my goals is always to pay myself and then figure out how to scale or outsource. All right, so let's see. Next question. Are there any mistakes you made when starting your business that you would advise me to avoid? Let me think about that one. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you don't want to quit your 9 to 5. Like, common practice is people think the more time I have to do said business, the more I will make. If I only work on the business 5 hours a week, if I have 40 hours a week, that means I'm gonna make a ton more money, right? It doesn't necessarily work out that way. So my advice to all and most individuals would be, and this is the mistake I made, right? I quit my 9 to 5 and then thought I would just start this business and it was going to just be a great revenue stream for me, but it didn't turn out that way. So the key here for me is don't force the business to be your main source of income before it has to, right? Like if it's not to the point to where you don't have to rely on it for income, that's the place you want it to be. You want to be able to have it in a space to where I can try different things. If you bake cakes, right? Like, hey, maybe I'm gonna make wedding cakes all, May through August, whatever wedding season is. Well, maybe you want to make cupcakes too, right? But if you don't give yourself the space to try those things without having to rely on the business for paying bills, right? Like it's a different type of thing when you got bills to pay, or a different type of stress when you have bills to pay from a business standpoint. So yeah, my advice would say, look, keep your job, and as the business grows, you'll know when it's time. But please don't jump before you have to. All right. Let's see. We're gonna do a few more of these things, and I'm excited about tomorrow because I'm looking forward to. I think I actually enjoy whiteboarding most, so I got the whiteboard over there. And so yeah, we're gonna definitely. I'm gonna find some different things to break down. But all right, so let's see. Let's see how we're doing on time. All right, so we got 5 more minutes. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna do these live streams. I'm just trying to see if I can throughout the day drop some gems as I'm working on stuff. Because I really want to show the execution behind a lot of stuff. Because I don't think it's good just to talk. I want to show and prove. All right, how do you balance ambitious goals with the need for realistic expectations in a startup? Great question. All right, so ambitious goals, like so to me, the word balance is key, right? Balance. You got to try stuff. Like you just have to try it. I'm always, my wife is always pulling me back in when I go too far, right? Like, you need people to be honest with you. You need people to have a good group of folks around you, because as an entrepreneur, you're gonna have to test the limits. Like with my kids, I always say, like, it's their job to test how far they go, and it's my job to tell them, all right, you went too far, bring it back, bring it back. And it's the same thing with business. Like you don't want to limit yourself, because that limiting factor is what's going to stop you from being ambitious. But be ambitious. I always say, like, dream hard. Like, you should dream crazy. Like, it shouldn't be anything you can't dream. But reality sets in when you try something, and you got to be honest with the results. Like, you have to say, all right, I said I was gonna make $1 million this year, but in January I made 200, right? And so it's okay to still dream about making the $1 million, but realistically, those goals, like, okay, so you made $200 off of what? Like, did you have 2 clients? Did you have 5 clients? Like, from a service industry standpoint, it's pretty easy to project how much you can make over the course of a year, given the idea that, okay, I'm selling things for $10, these services for, let's say, $20, and then I had 5 customers in January. Then, in February, okay, the plan should be to get 5 more at least, right? And so the goals should always be ambitious, but reality should be where you're just looking at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. So you got to be honest with what the numbers are, and then you got to certainly be honest with yourself if it's a real goal. All right, so we're gonna do one more. Oh, this is a good one too. All right, so last one, and then I'm gonna try to close out the stream because YouTube or not Instagram cuts it off once it gets to 60 minutes. All right, so what boundaries do you set to maintain separation between work and family life? That's a good question. There's no separation, right? To me, like, I maintain, like, I try not to work past a certain time, but what I found is you just gotta communicate. Because if you grow in a business, it's gonna be that client that wants you to get on a call at 9:30 p.m., right? Or you gotta get up to get on that call, and maybe at 4 a.m., maybe at 6 a.m. And when you talk about family, you got to make sure you communicate what's going on. For me, for Sundays, and then we talk about balance. Sundays is my days with the kids. Like, I got 5 kids. I take them, those five. I take all 5 of my kids out. We'll go somewhere to a fun place. We'll hang out, and it just be us, kind of me without Erica. And then with my wife, Tuesdays are our date nights. So we'll always be able to connect. I'm telling her, like, what's going on from a business standpoint, how things are going. And then also I'm really getting the chance to be very focused on her, and we'll go out to, restaurant, do anything, pretty much just us two. And we're getting real time feedback of what's going on with her, or what's going on with each other. So, all right, let me close out this show. I apologize for all the technical difficulties, but it's the way it is. And I'm gonna get better. I hope y'all get better. This has been Keeping Score. I am your host, Jamel Kyles. Feel free to reach out to me. I gotta put the team. We gotta find a way to get the links out there. But reach out to me on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube. I'm at least be looking at it. All right, y'all have a good weekend and enjoy tomorrow. All right, let's keep it rolling.